Hello everyone and welcome to another video from me, Ross, at Cosmic Crucible Studio. And no webcam today, but I did want to make this video at the request of a few users of the ToneX forum, especially people who own a pedal and they want to get plugins from their computer onto the pedal. I don't necessarily condone sharing plugin profiles on ToneNet, but I can see why you might want them for your own personal use to say put on a pedal. You know, you really like the sound of the chain and you want to put that on the ToneX pedal for live. So this is how you do it. The important thing is that I'm using Reaper because of a particular feature with the ReaRoute driver. Now, it isn't actually installed by default. So if you have Reaper, you may need to reinstall it with the ReaRoute driver optional feature checked. Don't worry about doing this. All it will do is install that feature. None of your other settings will change, which is great. But once you do that, you can easily capture your plugins through the ToneX software. So I just have a chain that I've made for this video. It's a simple overdrive, bit of EQ just to take a bit of the brightness of my pickups away, archetype nollie, amp only. I have this impulse of a warehouse Reaper with V30 combo. That's my own impulse there. And just a little bit of post EQ, you know, taking away the rumble, adding a bit more beef, getting rid of a little bit of the low mids there. And then I have this Rare, which is a free Pultec clone plugin. And we also have this, and the reason I have this will become apparent later. So let's just hear how that sounds with my own guitar. Right, very kind of modern, clanky metal tone, right? Quite a chuggy tone. So now we've got the chain sounding how we like it with a real guitar. We have to go to ToneX. And here I've set it up as guitar, complex rig, and this is where the magic happens, I guess. So once you're at the setup here, the audio setup and rig connections, you want to make sure that you have the ASIO driver selected and you're using ReaRoute for this. And what this enables us to do essentially is send audio from ToneX to Reaper and then send audio from Reaper back to ToneX. You don't have to worry about virtual audio cables. You don't have to worry about banana meter, anything like that. It's just all in the ToneX standalone and Reaper. Now, I don't use the monitors because actually I'm using my interface as monitors via Reaper. And when we go back to Reaper, you'll see how that works. So the most important one is actually the send to rig. And I use ReaRoute client to Reaper 3. You can use one, but I just like to go sort of clockwise around. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we have the ReaRoute client to Reaper 3. The guitar, it makes you put something, so I just use anything here. And then the important part is that these are the returns, right, back from Reaper. So that's ReaRoute Reaper 1 and 2, basically to client 1, 2. So we'll set that up here. You can see I have quite a high buffer size here. That's because for some reason, when I run OBS and ToneX and Reaper, they must just be using the same processor thread for some reason. Normally, you won't need to do this. I normally run with a buffer of 64, but it's really important when we listen back that we are not getting dropouts because obviously that will affect the training. And then we come to the check. I don't have my guitar plugged in. I don't really think there's a need to check the guitar, but we are going to check the levels. So what we have here is the hammer version. I really like that for sort of chuggy guitars. But before we do that, we need to set up Reaper. So you can see here in the capture track, what I've done is I've set the input to ReaRoute 3. And that's important because that, if we go back here, that is what we told ToneX. That's where we told ToneX to send the capture signal. So we told it to go to ReaRoute 3. So that's the input. And then, obviously, depending on your theme, this will look a little different. In my theme, this is where the routing for the track comes in. And you can see here that what I've done is I've sent it to add this audio hardware output to reroute 1 and reroute 2. This 1516 here is just for OBS, don't worry about that. You'll want to send it to reroute 1, reroute 2, and the reason for that is because if we go back to ToneX, that is where we told ToneX to expect the signal to come back, reroute 1 and reroute 2. And now, if we actually go to the live input, I can press play and you'll see that the audio will be sent to this track and then come back to ToneX. Now, at the moment, that's too hot, so that's the reason I have this dead duck utility here. You can use whatever kind of, like clip gain level volume plugin that you like. I just like the dead duck software. It's really easy to use, and I'm going to reduce that by, say, 3 decibels, and I'm going to play it again. So now I can see it's hitting the red very occasionally, but barely. And that's probably a good level to have. And basically, you can now just proceed as normal. We just go to the capture process and you'll see it'll just be like normal, basically. So let's just quickly start the process. Now, what I did there, I did leave in that aliasing noise. That's the downside of capturing a digital plugin, basically. I've tried oversampling and everything. It just doesn't seem to work. Unfortunately, ToneX just captures at 44 kilohertz, and that's just an inherent downside. But that's it, essentially. Like, that's how you do the routing, and you just carry on like any normal capture after that to make the profile. And then when you're done, you'll have that setting. So I hope that helped. Obviously, hit me up in the comments if anything wasn't clear and you need any more guidance. But hopefully that will show you how it's done, and you can capture your own plugin chains to put on the ToneX pedal.